Welcome to the Panic Button. I'm Nina.
I'm Jessie.
So Pearl Davis is a YouTuber who is big in the red pill space.
We've talked about Pearl.
Yes, we have. She was on Piers Morgan, and here it is.
You're talking about women predominantly, which is why you've got this big following. And your view is that modern feminism is deeply flawed. I would argue a lot of your proposals, like taking the vote away from women, are deeply regressive. Why would you want to remove, just from yourself, the right to vote?
What happened was I had the same view, right? Back when I started, I was like, why? I found out that only 5% of women wanted the right to vote. And I couldn't figure out, like, why would women not? No, it's true. It's true.
At,
You look it up.
at the time.
At the time.
Because they've been conditioned by men to think that they shouldn't have a vote.
I mean, that's what they say, but I started reading their writings. What I found out was that the reason a lot of women advocated for it was because they believed it was the beginning of the breakdown of the family. You know, before you became one in marriage, 85% of people were married. I hate to say it, but they were right. What has happened 100 years later?
What's that got to do with them having the vote?
It also goes back to responsibility. Again, men are 80 to 90% of the military. They run all of the infrastructures that make society run. I just think if we want an equal say in society, then be equal. Do 50% of the hard jobs. Be 50% of the military.
Specifically on the vote, what would having the right to vote have to do with family?
Before, you weren't trying to divide a family. It was one family unit. You had one vote for the family. I don't think it's good for a family to have two votes.
The stats that you're putting down are perhaps correct in some universe. Take you back to the to the women's writings that you've allegedly read.
Allegedly? What do you mean allegedly?
At the time that you're talking about, you know, women weren't really allowed to write. They weren't allowed to go to school.
Yes, they were. The first female property owner was in the 1600s. The idea that women couldn't work, the first female millionaire was in the late 1800s.
What law permitted that?
Well, there was no law. I mean, there's always been women that were influential.
Part of your message, I've researched you today. And hang on a minute.
I just want to point out real quick that Pearl has been talking for at least a good 2 minutes now, and nothing has really come out as to why women shouldn't vote. It's more like, well, you know, women don't really want to anyway.
Well, she said that we should do 50% of the hard work. But does she realize how stupid that is?
Okay, are you even listening to yourself right now? Do you realize how stupid you sound?
I mean, she's someone who has said men should be allowed in women's sports, right? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're bigger, they're stronger, they're tougher. In the same breath, she's saying that women should take on those jobs that require bigger, stronger, tougher?
Well, she doesn't mean that, because she just means give up your vote.
Because that makes no sense. Women on the front lines, probably not a very smart idea. Why? Because if you need to drag your fellow soldier off the battlefield and he's hurt, a woman's not going to be able to do that very easily. But a man will. You would rather rely on other men to do those hard jobs than to rely on women who are not physically capable. So she's just hypocritical, completely hypocritical to what she's saying and what she stands for.
I know more men go into the armed forces than women. However, I know women who definitely go into the armed forces. I know many of them, actually. I've gone to school with some. My mom, obviously. There are women who want to do those jobs. There are women who want to serve their country. Just because they're not to the same physical stature doesn't mean that they shouldn't be doing it. It just means that you shouldn't have as many of them doing it.
She's pretty much saying if you don't physically struggle for your country, then
if you're not putting
you
your
don't
life,
deserve to vote.
If you're not putting your life on the line, then you shouldn't have a vote. But we all pay taxes, right? So all of our money goes to the government, who we are electing with our vote. That's how I've always viewed it. As a taxpayer, I pay the government, therefore I get a say in who runs my government. And I believe that's how it should be.
You care about men, and you don't think that men are getting enough of a say. But
I care about
hang
women
on,
too.
I haven't
Care
made
about
the
women
point
too,
yet. Because of feminism. When you start making calls out like repeal the 19th, women shouldn't be allowed to vote, how is that helping young men? Because these young men have women in their lives. They have mothers, they have sisters, they have teachers. And they turn around, they don't know how to act around women because you're giving them license to be misogynistic.
I wouldn't call it misogynistic. I say be equal.
What's feminists are saying?
Well, then, okay, I'd love for the feminists, please apply for the oil rigs. I don't think men or women are equal until we do the equal work.
Please, women, do not apply to the oil rigs. Why don't women do that? Because they're not physically strong enough to do that. That is a specific, pretty much a male job. It's physically demanding. Men are physically stronger. Pearl's not using her brain right now. and realizing that is probably not a good idea.
No, she knows it's not a good idea. She's saying it because she wants women to have less of a say. She knows women won't do that job because they can't do that job. And so the question I posed to her is, who raised all these men that you are glorifying right now?
Pearl kind of reminds me of an overprotective mother who babies her sons
Here's my
into
point.
just being pathetic mommy's boys.
Here's my point. Who raised those men? Who taught those men in school? Ask them who their favorite teacher was. I guarantee it'll more than likely be a woman.
Because they're hot?
No, just because it's more often that they have female teachers than male teachers.
No, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Go be a plumber, go be an electrician, go be on the front lines of the military, and then we should have equal rights. But until feminism...
Where does oil rig, front lines, electrician, plumber, where do those all connect?
They're all physical labor jobs?
I know women who have gone into plumbing. I know women that go into engineering, which is a mostly male field. I know people who aren't even feminists that go into these kind of careers because they are strong women and they want to carry themselves that way. Just because not every woman is like that doesn't mean that you should dismiss all women. 20% of the military, 10 to 20% is women. You want to take their votes away?
I don't believe we should have the freedom without the responsibility.
Okay, well, I don't think that I'm physically built for that. You might be, but I'm absolutely not. You were a volleyball player, and so you've got more strength than I do. I don't think
But
that
I
I
don't
can
have
do
more
those
strength. I don't have
jobs.
more strength than
But
the
I'm not gonna
average
take your
man.
right away to
I don't
do
have
it.
I don't have more strength than the average man.
You want divorce to be made illegal?
Yes.
Why?
Because
Because I want to trap whoever decides to marry me.
Oh, that's
I don't want them to
that's
be able to
pretty
leave
spot
me.
on. That's pretty spot on.
She's had such a hard time getting a relationship to date. So she's like, if
Dude.
divorce became illegal, I just had to trap one man.
The last person she dated was that homeless millionaire who is now dating a redhead who is much more attractive than her.
Probably much nicer.
Yeah.
I don't think what we have today is really marriage. Marriage, it's for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Feminists have ruined marriage for the people that actually believe in marriage.
How?
When there's a 50% divorce rate, the average marriage
Why is that all down
8
to the
years.
women, though?
I didn't say that it was all down to the women. Leave marriage for the people that actually believe in for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, till death do us part.
Doesn't the sanctity of marriage also rely on the woman being a virgin? So
I will say.
You could say it twice. It doesn't.
But how many people do you know get married like, oh, we could get divorced?
Anyone who has their partner sign a prenup.
You think they were like, let's do this and then get divorced?
Hey, you want to get married so we can get divorced next month? Let's do it.
Let's fucking rock and roll. Like, you know what I mean?
We'll get gifts. We get to
Everyone-
dress up real nice. Everyone glorifies us.
Gatsby party, you feel me?
Yes. Hey. Have a good time, then we'll get divorced. Isn't it like $4,000 to get
Like,
divorced or $8,000 or some shit like
It's like $5,000 or something like that to get
Yeah,
divorced.
that's expensive.
So, yeah, that's
So
my
you're just
point.
having the marriage, getting the money for the marriage just to pay the divorce.
also rely on the woman being a virgin, so you wouldn't be able to get married. I just think that you're upholding standards that you don't actually live by.
you know, and that's a fair complaint. I wish I was, but you know, we can't go back. I don't know what you want me to say.
That's the problem with Pearl.
Hypocritical.
She's hypocritical, and she also doesn't take responsibility for the things she's done.
Yeah.
Because you can sit there and say, listen, I was young, and at that time I had different views, and I thought it was the right move for me, and now I'm advocating for people to not make the mistake I made. That would be respectable. But instead, she's like, no, I wish I was, but shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm like, Pearl. That's the problem. You don't humble yourself down to the level of people.
I feel bad for the guys who follow her, and I say this because she's too overprotective of them, so much so that she's creating these men to be adult toddlers
Come on, let's go.
who take no responsibility. They just blame women. And that's not the way to go. It's okay if you want to highlight things about women that are not good, but when you're just constantly bashing them and then you're being completely hypocritical to your own views, it's It's not a benefit for anybody.
Pearl does not humble herself down to humanity. She's setting these guys up for unobtainable goals. She's basically like, if I have to be single, you have to be single. These are unobtainable goals to find in a woman, especially in 2023.
I think she only knows how to bitch about women because she is one, so she's been around them, right? But she can't talk about relationships and the ins and outs of the male and female relationship and how the relationship works and how it's cohesive and how they work together. You never hear her talking about that shit, right? You only hear her bitching about women. Why?
She doesn't know.
Exactly.
Okay.
She's not a benefit to anybody.
Let's talk for real right now. Ready? You know me personally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of the personality type a lot of these red pill guys want, right? The submissive, listens.
Yes.
Okay.
Virgin.
But.
Go on.
You're a virgin, aren't you?
But. You having fun over there?
Yeah. Go ahead.
But.
Well, have you ever been touched by a man?
No.
No. You are perfect. Too bad you're gay.
I'm not thin. That's where I'd fall out of line with a lot of these.
So do you
Pearl
think
would call me a whale.
But do you think that a man would turn down a virgin just because she's overweight? She's young. She's overweight.
Probably a few.
Or would he take a very attractive 23-year-old slut who's had sex with 100 men?
Personally, I'd
Men?
go for the chunkier one myself.
Men, let us know. We're very curious.
Would you rather fuck me or a slut? Yeah, that's the new poll on fucking YouTube. Totally need that. I totally need that in my life.
In general.
Here she's exposing me as a virgin on YouTube. I would be the person that these people would be looking for, but they wouldn't go for that for a lot of reasons. A lot of guys wouldn't do it because I'm just overweight.
Then I say that men are retarded. If they're going to go without sex because they won't fuck a woman who's overweight, I think they might be gay.
Are you gay?
You gotta be gay. You're going to turn down good pussy.
Fresh pussy.
Good fresh pussy. Because she has extra pounds. You haven't gotten laid in like 5 years. I have questions, sir. Are you gay? What man turns down
I think it also depends on how fat they are. Because there's something about having like an extra 20 to 40 pounds, and there's something about having an extra 100 pounds, you know?
Yeah. But in America, aren't men more overweight than women anyway? Why
They're
is
not
she,
even.
Okay. So why is she creating these unrealistic standards for her little baby men? Babies.
She goes on about the whales, and she'd call me a whale. I know she would. She's
Given.
got gut. I'm not saying she's fat. I'm just saying she's also got a gut. So maybe, like...
Isn't the whole point of being a feminist, though, that women are entitled to have their own views?
Absolutely. And
So she's perfectly entitled to her views.
Yeah, but you can't-
You might not like
but
them.
I'm here to
But
challenge
isn't she
them.
exercising her right as a... Are you a feminist?
The whole point of feminism is not that women can have their own views. It's instead to allow women to have the same access in society as anyone else would. It's not to let women have whatever opinions they want. I mean, you can. You can vocalize those. That's free speech.
That's called free speech.
That's not feminism. There's a big difference. Okay, Pierce? Let's talk about that.
Are you a feminist?
No, I am not.
Really?
Feminists really believed in equality, but you guys don't. I would love for you. There is an oil rig hiring.
When you find the man you want to get married to, are you saying you will be with that man whatever happens?
Yes, for the vows that we're supposed to live by.
How do you know you can keep them?
I think it's a choice. Women are so willing to leave marriages because they're not happy. This is not about happiness. The most important thing is the children. And the problem is we have a modern society where it's me, me, me.
This is not about happiness. We have children. That's what she probably saw growing up. And her mom was like, you're right. I'm sorry. I'll get back in the kitchen. I'm sorry.
I also believe in your right to speak your mind about it. What I don't understand.
I'd like to
what
say,
I don't
even
understand.
before the 1920s,
Do you know what I mean?
women could speak openly.
Okay. she's
Women could speak
interrupting.
openly before Pearl got there.
Damn it, Pearl!
Women
Can't get a word in with you around.
Women could speak openly. What?
She does sound a lot like a turkey.
She's like, She's screaming the whole time. Yeah.
Put the gums away and let her speak.
What I don't understand is when it kind of seeps into this sort of, you call women fat, you say that they shouldn't have
Are they
abortions,
fat?
you say that
Are
they
they
have
fat?
STDs.
The question is, are they fat?
Ask
The
them for
average
the
American
judgment.
woman is 170 pounds. That's objectively overweight.
See?
And the average woman is 5'2", and she's like, what, 6'7"? Pearl's angry at women because they're getting laid and she's not. I think that is her issue.
That's the whole.
Let's get down to brass tacks.
That's
here.
the whole thing. Pearl needs to get laid. That's the video.
Like and subscribe.
And someone go fuck Pearl. Don't force it on her, but someone get her. And just, like, she needs a good dick down, because, like, she's begging for it.
For the goodness of humankind, please, someone just fuck Pearl. Please. Women need to talk.